Alright y'all, welcome back to a Motovlog Monday. As y'all can see, I am in some rain gear, which means it must be raining. It's not. It's taking a little break, but the roads are really wet, and it is really wet out, and I've got to head to work, go do a little bit of a recording session. I'm going to ride the rain gear, and we're going to talk about riding in the rain. So if you're wondering why I'm having to ride in the rain, knowing that Haley and I do own a car, Haley's out of town. She's on her way back up to the Midwest, so we only have one car and we have one motorcycle, which means I'm on the motorcycle. Which is why I own rain gear. I bought my rain gear at a Harley-Davidson dealership last summer. I think altogether it was maybe around $240, $250. Here's what that got me. Two-piece rain suit is waterproof, and I can attest to that. This specific set of Harley rain gear is, at least in my experience, really good at keeping me dry. You do give up ventilation, so especially during the summer months when it's raining, it can still be 80, 90 degrees, and so it can get pretty warm, but I would rather be kind of warm and a little sweaty, but also not getting rained on. Take the good with the bad. Rain gear, got a pair of coveralls, basically. Got the suspenders come up over your shoulder, come up just above your waist. And you've got the coat that goes on over that, which has got sealed zipper and the waterproof pockets and the Velcro to, you know, keep everything nice and dry. And then you've got booties, and these are super important. So you've got these waterproof booties that you put your shoes, your boots into, and then they Velcro all the way up your calf to just below your knee, and they're waterproof material as well. So that's the full rain suit. What I like about the rain suit is that it's got a hood, and the hood is meant to be worn under your helmet, and that keeps the rain from getting in up and around your neck. Conveniently, when I put on my helmet, I did not put on the hood. I forgot to put up the hood, but the hood is really effective. And then there's the question of gloves. Now, they do make waterproof gloves. I don't own any of the waterproof gloves. I've made the mistake of wearing my leather gloves in the rain before, and unless you've got waterproof shelled leather gloves, your leather gloves are going to saturate, they're going to soak, and then your hands are going to be wet. And that is not a fun position to be in, because your hands, being at the, you know, the end of an extremity, don't have great blood flow, and so they can get cold, they can be hard to move, and obviously you need good control of your hands in order to function on a motorcycle safely. So what I choose to do in warm, rainy weather, I actually have a pair of light fabric Harley gloves that are meant to be like just summer riding gloves. So I don't wear waterproof gloves. The reason for that is our hands actually acclimate to being wet really pretty well. So long as you can put up with a little bit of discomfort of just having wet, clammy hands, I have found that my hands have no problem staying comfortable when they're wet in these gloves. So that is my full riding in the rain outfit. Now, riding in the rain it's more different than riding in the dry than you might assume, unless you're assuming that riding in the rain is almost completely different than riding when it's dry, in which case you've assumed correctly. So here are some things that I have found that have kept me safe while riding in the wet. And just so you guys know, I've commuted when it's raining, so I've done up to like 35, 40 miles an hour in the rain. And over the holidays when I went to visit a buddy in Miami, for 2 of the 7.5 hour ride back, it rained solid on the interstate. So I've done a lot of rain riding, different speeds, different roadways, and so it's not really a big deal to me. But here's what I found to be helpful, and it's really just the sort of principles that you would find or even kind of assume in a compromised traction riding environment. So number 1, you're gonna brake earlier and you're gonna brake a little softer. Reason for this is when you have limited or compromised traction, your tires can't do as good of a job grabbing the road to create friction to slow you down. So you need more roadway, more time braking on the tire to actually slow you down to whatever the safe speed is. whether you're stopping or just slowing down. So you need to brake early. The other side of that is you need to accelerate a little more slowly when you are coming away from a stop or going to pass. I wouldn't really recommend passing unless you absolutely have to, because usually in a passing situation you're going to have to give a lot more throttle than you were, you know, up until you initiate the pass. And compromised traction situation, that's not necessarily the safest maneuver to do. So be easier on the throttle when you go to accelerate. That's point number 2. Point number 3, avoid finished surfaces. And so this is really just saying paint. Don't spend a lot of time on a center line if you can. When you've got the stop line marker at a stop sign or a stoplight, come to that stop, don't put your rear tire on that painted surface, because it's going to be real slick, and even just a little bit of throttle on a slick surface in the wet, you could throw out your back tire real quick, and you don't want that. Stick to the pavement for as much of the ride as you can. It's going to keep you safe, and it's going to keep your bike upright. Point number 4, turn tall. And if you've ever ridden in the wet, you've probably done this instinctively, but turning tall is my way of saying turn more slowly, which means you can't lean to the degree that you normally would. I have found safe turning in the wet to be achievable by just trying to keep myself as tall up on the bike as I can while I'm executing the turn. Does that mean that I move more slowly through the turn? Yes. But with your tires trying to do what they do to get the rain out from under them, when you go to lean, some water can get trapped under there, you can hydroplane, and you can wash out literally the bike from under you. So turn tall. The last one I would say is have your eye out for standing water of really any depth. I've read that, you know, a motorcycle can hydroplane in as little as an inch of water. And I'm not a hydrodynamics not a physicist or, you know, a tire engineer or anything like that, but hitting standing water can immediately throw off the balance of your bike, and that's a really easy way to wash out. So in the same way that if any of you drive in during the winter months in states that get a lot of snow and ice, the same way that you have to be vigilant for black ice in a car, you have to be vigilant for standing water when you're riding in the rain. Bonus tip, and this really goes for riding situation where you might have extraneous risk that you wouldn't have during your normal commute or normal trip or joyride, whatever. I've always found it helpful to just communicate immediately whenever I arrive at wherever it is that I'm going, to communicate to whoever it is that's waiting for me at home. So if I'm riding in the rain, or it could rain, or riding at night, or if I'm on a long trip, whenever I get to where my next waypoint is, or if I arrive at my destination, first thing I do is I always text Haley. You know, it's become just a normal thing. It's not a remarkable thing that we do or remarkable habit. But when you're riding in a compromised traction situation, there is an increased likelihood of you having an incident on the road. And depending on where you're riding and you know, the number of people that might be there to witness and give first responder aid if you have an incident, the fact that you don't get home on time, or the fact that you don't get to your destination on time, that might be the first and only thing that tips off anyone as to the fact that you've had an incident. Just think about that. If you're going to be in a compromised traction situation, make sure that someone knows your approximate timeline and is waiting for you to communicate. Even if it just means they call or text you to ask, hey, kind of thought you'd be at wherever by now, how is the ride? And obviously if they don't hear back from that, that is a good tip for them to just check in a little closer. So yeah, those are 5 tips for riding in the rain safely. It's an overview of my rain gear. Be sure to leave me a comment down in the comments. Let me know about your experiences riding in the rain, anything that's been helpful to you riding in the rain, staying safe, staying dry. And thanks for checking out the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. For now, I'm the Two Wheel Teacher, and I'm gonna see you on the road.